Welcome into PFF TV. I'm Sam Monson. He's Mike Renner. Mike, we had the NFL trade deadline pass, and there was a little bit of movement, not quite the blockbuster spectacle that some people were expecting, but we did have some trades, and we're going to work through them here one by one in order of least compensation given up to the order of most compensation. So the first one was the come and get me, just take him off our hands trade. Ty Montgomery, running back for the Green Bay Packers, goes to the Baltimore Ravens for a 2020 7th-round pick.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers even forget about this by the time 2020 rolls around. They basically were going to cut him after the kick return this past week that he brought out after explicitly being told not to bring it out.
Yeah.
But decided, hey, he's still actually a player worth, getting something back from. He's going to actually see snaps in that Ravens offense. He is a versatile piece to an offense. He can play slot receiver there, which they've struggled to get production from Willie Snead at. He can play running back there, so his versatility is coveted, but Packers just didn't want him anymore. You can't have that in the locker room.
Right, he has the potential to be one of the best matchup weapons in the league. He's a guy that can go play running back, play slot receiver, move in and out between them, and that puts some real stress on a defense. Alex Collins there is a really good running back, but a running back. He's not a great receiver, so he could seamlessly fit into that offense and actually give them some legitimate value. What about Demaryius Thomas, wide receiver, moves from the Denver Broncos to the Houston Texans for a 2019 4th-round pick. That's this upcoming year, and they swap 7th.
Yeah, this one actually makes sense, I think, from both teams' perspective. The Denver Broncos, I always applaud a GM for saying, we don't have the pieces to win this year. We're not going to be Super Bowl contenders. Maybe they could have snuck backdoored into the playoffs, but with that roster, they weren't winning Super Bowl. And with Demaryius Thomas's contract, his decline in play over the years, he was not going to be part of their long-term plans. At that point, get as much back as you can from him. You get a 4th-rounder, which is about, the edge of still having some value in the draft. And from the Texans' perspective, they just lost Will Fuller. They lost a complementary piece, so people had to double DeAndre Hopkins before, or you couldn't double him with Will Fuller in there. Without Will Fuller, you could probably start doubling him. Now with Demaryius Thomas, with 2 big physical wide receivers, all of a sudden you create some matchup problems for opposing defenses. And I just like the trade from their perspective. Only a 4th, not too big of an investment.
And Thomas does a lot of things that don't require a great knowledge of the playbook to do. Catch bubble screens and just get yardage after the catch. That's what he's been best at, really, over his NFL career. And for the Broncos' perspective, Cortland Sutton, their 2nd-round draft pick, reminds me a lot of Demaryius Thomas. Now he's taken his job, so he should fit seamlessly into that offense. What about Clinton-Dix? Goes again from the Green Bay Packers, this time to the Washington Redskins for a 4th-round pick. This is the biggest head-scratcher for me.
Yes, this one's definitely the biggest head-scratcher to me for a number of reasons. One, if you let walk after the season, you would think you could get a 3rd or 4th compensatory pick. Not that you always get compensatory picks if you sign free agents, so that's not necessarily guaranteed, but you could. And so from the Redskins' perspective, they let them go and don't sign any free agents. It was basically just a wash. It was basically a free player rental for them. But from the Packers' perspective, safety was already their biggest hole on defense. Kentrell Brice, the other safety there, has been a huge issue, grading out terribly for us here at PFF. Clinton-Dix still actually a top 5 graded safety. He's playing well, albeit inconsistently for the Packers secondary. But at that point, you're still in the playoff mix. You're actually kind of behind the 8 ball trying to make the playoffs this year. He was your best safety. I don't know where you really go from here if you're the Packers.
Right, and we were talking about it in the office after the move happened. We don't even know who's going to be lining up at safety for the Packers since they shipped him out of town. And from Washington's perspective, they've got DJ Swearinger playing fantastically this year. They now have 2 of the 5 highest graded safeties at PFF through the first half of this season. Now let's talk about Golden Tate, wide receiver, moves from the Detroit Lions to the Philadelphia Eagles for 2019, this upcoming draft, a 3rd-round pick this time. Same kind of deal as Golden Tate, though, as Clinton-Dix, coming to the end of his contract.
Yeah, another one similar to the Broncos where I applaud them for saying we don't actually have the team. Their secondary there in Detroit, not good enough to win you a Super Bowl. At that point, you're 3-5. You're not. It's going to be you could backdoor into the playoffs. You probably won't be. You're not going to sign Golden Tate long term. Get whatever you can back from a 3rd round is great value for the next upcoming draft. From the Eagles' perspective, they've been all in. This is a roster that's built to win now. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl a season ago, so it's built there. They're close enough. Give Carson Wentz all the weapons you can because the offense has been a little hit and miss to start the season. He can play slot, he can play outside. He's one of the most dynamic after-the-catch receivers in the NFL. And at 30 years old, he's still got it. He's still at the top of his game.
That versatility, I think, is key because the only question that remains is quite how you deploy all of those guys on the field at the same time, whether it's those two tight ends over the middle. Nelson Aguilar is best from the slot. Golden Tate is probably best from the slot, but he can play outside. There's just some unanswered questions so far from the Eagles.
And I'm going to throw this in there, too. Golden Tate, high school running back, played some running back in Notre Dame as well. He could add to that backfield. They can get creative with him there as well.
Now, that'd be fun. Last trade we want to talk about, though, Dante Fowler, former first-round pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars, a draft bust by pretty much any measure, goes to the Rams, though, for a 2019 third and a 2020 fifth-round pick. This could be fun.
Yeah, if you would have bet Dante Fowler got the most trade value back, I probably would have said probably not. But from the Rams, a team desperate for edge help, easily, I'd say, the worst edge talent in the NFL at the moment. Best interior talent, but the worst edge talent. Dante Fowler has flashed at different points in his career. If you even go back and watch the Patriots game from earlier this season, he killed Adrian Waddle. So he's shown the ability to dominate lesser tackles, but at the same time, he's disappeared for long periods of time. He's been up and down throughout his career, had some off-the-field issues, issues with the teammates in the locker room there in Jacksonville. So I'm not sure what you're necessarily going to get if you're LA, but the upshot here is you're in contention for the Super Bowl. If he puts you over that edge, that third and that fifth, it's worth it. And
they're getting so much disruption inside from those guys, Sue, Donald, Michael Brockers, even just being around on the edge, you're going to luck into an awful lot of pressure that's generated by these other guys. And he could be the difference between the guys who've got no edge pressure whatsoever and at least giving them something on the edge. So that's going to do it. That's our roundup of the NFL trade deadline. 5 trades got made, all interesting for various different reasons. That's our breakdown of them. Check out the rest of our YouTube comment and hit like, hit the subscribe button, but that's it for us.